So Jax, the Crimson King structure deck will be released pretty soon. And I couldn't help but be interested in a synchro deck that isn't synchron. It's not the same the way it plays, its playstyle, but nonetheless, it's still a synchro deck that I want to explore. And they have a 1-card combo, which is something I'm really envious about. Like, Synchron does not have a 1-card combo. We have a tuning, hopefully mill and get a 1-card combo. But other than that, we don't have a 1-card combo. Some of these combos will be interchangeable depending if you start with Crimson Gaia or not. So for Crimson Gaia, this is like the Rhoda, basically. During your main phase, you can add 1 Red Dragon Archfiend or 1 card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except Crimson Gaia. When your Red Dragon Archfiend declares an attack, you can change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. That's a Book of Eclipse when we're Dragon Archfiend monster attack. That's pretty cool. If a monster on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, so it's anywhere, whether it's yours or theirs, you can special summon 1 Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard. What this does, this Rhoda gives you a Stratos. And what this one does is when this card is normal summon or special summon, you can add 1 level 4 Lore Fiend monster from your deck to your hand, except Soul Resonator. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except Dark Synchro monsters. So this only locks you to Darks, so it's not as restrictive as the other ones where they lock into Dragons as well. But the cool thing about this is that you can consider playing Labyrinth cards because Labyrinth are fiends, and if you can preserve your normal summon through sequencing with not utilizing your normal summon, this can search one of them and then summon your Labyrinth cards and then search your Welcome and your Traps. For this combo, it's going to be just focused on the Resonators. So then what this does, this will search a Bone, an Extender, non-tuner Extender. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can send 1 other card from your hand or field to the graveyard, special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except Dark Dragon Synchro monsters. It restricts you a bit more to Dragon Dark. The fact that you can send a card on the field to fulfill its cost is pretty cool. This is what allows it to be a 1-card combo. You can target 1 face-up monster you control that has a level. Send 1 Fiend Tuner from your hand or deck to the graveyard. And if you do, increase or decrease that monster's level by 1. The reason this is important is because this is a level 7 and you need to find a way to get to a level 6. Because the most important synchro in your extra deck is going to be Red Rising Dragon, which is how you get everything going. So you go ahead and send your Crimson. So that's just the cool thing about these cards. They're interchangeable. So you don't have to specifically open up with this and this. You'll see as I show you the combos. But the reason you send this is because you need to revive Crimson Resonator with Red Rising Dragon, right? Because when this card is synchro summoned, you can target 1 Resonator monster in your graveyard. Special summon it, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except Dark Dragon Synchro monsters. So that's why it's a bit restrictive because it's not after, it's during. So it's like, yeah. So you reduce, make it level 2, summon Red Rising, target your Crimson. Crimson Resonator has an effect. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Pretty cool. If the other monster you control is exactly 1 Dragon Synchro monster, here, exactly 1, you can special summon up to 2 Resonator monsters from your hand or deck except Crimson Resonator. It's a good thing that they mentioned hand or deck. You can only use each effect of Crimson Resonator once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Dark Dragon Synchro monsters the turn you activate either of these effects. So very restrictive. So then you summon out your one of your new ones, which is Vision Resonator. This gets you access to your spells and traps, which is pretty cool. And it summoned itself from your hand. So if a level 5 or higher dark monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. So Bystials works pretty good with Bystials. You can only special summon Vision Resonator once per turn this way. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 spell trap that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend from your deck to your hand. And they're all once per turn, by the way. And then you search, this is an old one, but this is quite important because it's part of your sequence. So you synchro climb here, you go into the new synchro, you go into Scarred Dragon Archfiend. 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner dark monsters. This card's name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while on the field or in the graveyard. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Red Dragon Archfiend from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon, which is pretty cool. Then if this card was sent to the graveyard as a synchro material for a Dark Dragon Synchro monster, you can destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. That's cool. What the heck? That's Regeki, just for synchro summoning with it. That's insane. You can only use this effect of Scarred Dragon Archfiend once per turn. The important part is that it's treated as a Red Dragon Archfiend. That's quite important. So you have to ensure that you synchro off with Vision first, because Synchro and Resonator has another effect. But the first one is, if a Synchro monster is on the field, meaning either field, yours or your opponent's, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Synchro and Resonator once per turn this way. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one Resonator monster in your graveyard except Synchro and Resonator and add it to your hand. So that's how you add this back. So you climb into Bane. This is quite important because it's a Dark Synchro, right? You could have also just synchroed into Bystial Saronir. This is a way to like learn what these cards do within the theme. So what this one does is you contribute one monster, then target one Red Dragon Archfiend monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon 2 tuners with the same level, one from your deck and one from your graveyard. In defense position, you can only use each effect of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane once per turn. So what happens now is you trigger Scarred Dragon, summoning your OG Red Dragon, and then your Vision Resonator will add you your Fiendish Golem, which is the new trap. Basically, target one monster on the field with 2 dozen or more attack. Banish it until the end phase of the next turn. So it's not permanent, but nonetheless, it'll have synergy with Bystial Saronir, because Bystial Saronir can negate an effect by returning a banished card to your opponent in your opponent's banish zone. So they're not going to get it back, which is pretty cool. And then, if you control a Red Dragon Archfiend or a Synchro monster that mentioned it, you can set one Fiendish Chain directly from your deck or graveyard. That's cool. So then you climb here, go into Hot Red. This is where Synchro Resonator will add back the Vision, right? Special Division, activate Bane, tribute itself, and summon back your Red Dragon Archfiend. So there's some niche things you can do depending on the situation. And then you make your Disbatter. This is where this has synergy with it, right? Because you would banish something, and then you would negate something, right? But you don't get the other effect because you don't control a Red Dragon Archfiend. But nonetheless, it's still pretty cool. It's just off one card. And if you have more cards to play with, then your board will be better, depending if you play Labyrinth cards or Bystials. And this is a 2-card combo. This is assuming you don't open up with Crimson Gaia, right? Because that means Crimson Gaia can stay on the field, and you'll be able to utilize all of its effects. So this is going to be very simple. Same as the first combo, except don't have to waste your Gaia for the bone, right? So you climb into this as well. Something like that. And this is where you start Gaia. So that's going to be the main difference with all these combos. Whether you maintain Gaia on the field or not, we don't have to. Stay on the field. And it'll allow your setup to be reinforced, which is pretty cool. Summon this, summon that. Go into Bystial. Now, this is on the field. And they don't allow you to keep searching every main phase unless they get rid of it. Right? But if they try to destroy it, you have Soul Resonator as a Baling's effect. If a cards you control would be destroyed by a card effect while you control Red Dragon Archfiend, or a Synchro monster that mentions it, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. It's not live now, but it's something that you can consider, assuming you have access to more resources. But you have a banish, you have a negate, because you'll return the banished monster that you just banished, and then you have a face-up negate. It's pretty cool. And next turn you get the search, and then this has recurability, because then you can search Bone, and then Bone can dump another level 1 Synchron, and then use his effect, and then just try to climb from there. And this is what you can do if you open it with the Bystial stuff, which is pretty cool. It gives you another interaction because you have access to Lebellion. And none of these conflict, which is cool. This will search your Soul Resonator. This is what I was referring to as things can be interchangeable, which is the cool thing about this. I mean, draw can be a bit of an issue though, but nonetheless, it's still cool. You flow into this guy, and then you use the effect of Lebellion, tributing your Red Dragon Archfiend, setting up your beast, Check field. And then you have this card variation. Just basically showing you what you can do with different card variations, because it still gets you to the same end board. Summon that. Go for this. Go for Bane. Search for Gaia. Add that back. Special. And the difference this time is that you have everything live now. Can trigger this. So first and foremost, you'll negate with this, right? And then use Branded Beast, popping this, allowing you to revive your Red Dragon Archfiend, right? Because something was destroyed. And then that means you can have double negate. So you have a face-up negate of a card, a face-up card in the field. You have a pop, this revives, or preferably you revive this because this is still treated as this, so it'll fulfill this. You then banish any monster, right? You set your Phoenix Chain, and then you have a negate with Bystial Saronir by returning the monster you just banished. And then of course you have the spell. Search is Soul Resonator. Just wait till you see the other one though, the Labyrinth combo. It's pretty cool. Similar thing. The difference in most of the combos is whether you keep the Gaia or not. Search is Fiendish. Special. And see, they're interchangeable. So it'll vary on what card you open, but nonetheless, you can still get to the same board. Which is consistency and efficiency. Alright, so this is what you do with Lab. But it has to be with Crimson Resonator, okay? Because you need to make sure that you have your normal summon. But if you can have card variations where you can preserve your normal summon and still get to the soul searching this, then you can do that either way. So it'll vary, but that's what we're trying to figure out now at the moment. But for now, these are just combos that you can do. Search is welcome. So right here, if they stopped either or, right? If they veilered you here, if they asked you here, then okay, fair enough. You just baited a few hand traps. But if let's say they 1-for-1'd your guy here, like imperm here, and prevented you from summoning Archfiend Resonator, at least you have a welcome, right? So you're still ahead. This isn't really a +1, like it is technically, but at least you got something out of one of your resources. Go for this. And in this case, we normally summon Synchron Resonator, but we summon Soul Resonator this time because usually this is our normal summon, right? But in this case, we normal summon Arianna. But this is the cool thing because this is what I meant. They're interchangeable. Any card variation can do it and still end on the same board. You search for Synchron Resonator, and you do the same Synchro climb. And a big difference is that you'll have an extra Dragon Synchro on board. Search Gaia. Add back that. Gaia searches the Fiendish Golem. And then this is where you tribute the extra body. Right? And this is where you end on this pattern as well. Which is pretty cool. And then you set your Fiendish Golem and you set your big welcome. So like these two are pretty cool. These are so cool. And then like this is like your Christian aspect of the deck because this can get you back your Red Dragon Archfiend, right? And this gets everything going. This summons out your Arianna, searching another welcome, and just try to snowball from there, which is pretty cool. Like it's, yeah. But that's basically gonna be it. If you're a Top Clear Mind member, make sure that your YouTube and your Discord are linked so you can get access to the members only Discord. And that's where I've been posting the list I've been experimenting with. Structure's not out yet, but we're just trying to see if we can get a hold of some of the combos that we can do with the deck. Because it seems pretty fun. Let's have just 2-card combos, 1-card combo. And yeah, it's just like the first introduction. I just literally picked up the cards today, just reading them and going over every possible card we can search off of Soul Resonator. But it'll change for sure the more we experiment. and the more you guys get give your guys' input in it. But for now, it's just pretty cool. That's gonna be it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.